Hello my dear students, I hope all of you are fine. In our previous social science class, we had started discussing the chapter Life in the Rural Areas, right? And we also discussed the various revenue collection policies introduced by the British East India Company, and these three policies were number 1 the permanent settlement, number 2 the Mahalwari system, and number 3 the Rayotwari system. Okay, so in today's video we will learn about the impact. We will understand the impact of the land revenue systems introduced by the British East India Company. Okay, if you have any doubt regarding the three revenue collection policies introduced by the British East India Company, you can refer back to my previous video. I'll give the link to the videos in the description box. The impact of the land revenue systems introduced by the British East India Company were number 1, land became a saleable commodity which could be bought, sold or mortgaged. For us Indians, even now, soil or land is very auspicious, right? We regard soil or land to be priceless. Back then, during the rule of the British East India Company, the peasants could never think of selling their land, selling their piece of land. Why? Because for them their land was not less than their mother. Okay, so the peasant would never consider selling his piece of land. But now, after the introduction of the various land revenue systems by the British East India Company, the condition of the farmers, farmer was so bad, the condition of the farmer was so bad that he had no other option other than buying, selling, buying or mortgaging his land. Okay, so land became a saleable commodity. What do you mean by saleable commodity? Something which can be sold. Okay, commodity means thing. So land became a saleable commodity which could be bought. Bought means to buy, sold means to sell, or mortgaged. Now what is the meaning of mortgaged? Mortgaged means the peasant would surrender his land rights to the moneylender, and the moneylender would lend the peasant some money. If the peasant is able to return back the money, well and good. If not, the moneylender would confiscate the piece of land. Okay, so the first result is that land became a saleable commodity, something which could be sold, bought or mortgaged. Impoverishment of peasantry. Impoverishment means the process of becoming poor. Okay, so the peasants became poorer and poorer day by day. So after introduction of the land revenue systems by the British East India Company, the peasants became poorer and poorer. Number 1, the company's revenue demands were very high in comparison to the peasants' income. Okay, the revenue that the East India Company demanded, okay, was very high, was higher than the peasants' income. Okay, so suppose for example, if the peasant had a monthly income of rupees 500, the tax that he had to pay was around 600 to 700 rupees. So the income of the peasant was less than the tax that was demanded by the British East India Company. In that case, how could the peasant pay the money? Right? How could the peasant pay his tax? So paying the high revenue demands of the company became next to impossible for the Indian peasant. So he had no other option other than buying, selling or mortgaging his land. Okay, buying and selling, the peasant found it very difficult to buy to sell his land. So most of the time, what did the peasant do? The peasant would mortgage his land. Okay, now let's see what happens. Failures of crops, costly social customs like marriages, etc. were very costly. So the peasants had to either sell a part of his land or borrow money from the moneylender. Okay, so failure of crops. See, the peasants' income was already less than the revenue demands. On top of that, failure of crops due to any reason like drought, or maybe that failure of crops due to some natural calamities or so. Costly social customs. Social customs were very costly, marriages were very costly, and so the peasant had no option other than selling a part of his land or borrowing money from the moneylender. Okay, did you understand till here? So the peasant was in a very deplorable condition. His condition, the condition of the peasant was very bad. Okay, he could not pay the tax which was demanded by the British East India Company. So what he had to do? He could not pay the tax because his income was less than the tax that was demanded, and failure of crop, on top of that failure of crops and the social customs which were very costly. All right, so the peasant had no other option other than selling a part of his land or borrowing money from the moneylenders. In most of the cases, the peasant preferred to borrow money from the moneylender. The moneylender mortgaged the land of the peasant and charged a high rate of interest. Unable to pay the debt, the peasant had to give the mortgaged land to the moneylender. Okay, so here see, the moneylender mortgaged the land of the peasant and charged a high rate of interest. Okay, mortgage the land. That means the moneylender would lend some money. All right, lend some money in lieu of the rights that the peasant would, the land rights that the peasant would surrender, and he would also charge a high rate of money. So the money that the moneylender lended had a high rate of interest. The money that the moneylender lended had a high rate of interest. Now the unable to pay, after borrowing the money, the peasant, there is no way for the peasant to pay the interest or pay the money back to the moneylender. Unable to pay the debt, the peasant had to give the mortgaged land to the moneylender. So since we had already discussed here, the peasant would surrender his land rights to the moneylender, right? And the moneylender would lend some money to the peasants, and if the peasant is able to pay the money to the moneylender, it's well and good, or else what will happen? His land would be confiscated. All right, unable to pay the debt, the peasant had to give the mortgaged land to the moneylender. So the peasant was in no condition to pay, was not in the condition to pay the high rate of interest to the moneylender, and as a result his land was confiscated by the moneylender. The third impact, the new revenue collection system created a class of zamindars. They were completely indifferent to the welfare of the farmers. They did nothing to improve the productivity of the land. The farmers found it very difficult to support his family. Okay, so the new revenue collection system created a class of zamindars. If you remember the features of the permanent settlement, the tax was collected by a zamindar. Okay, India already had a caste system. Okay, so after the introduction of the various land revenue collection system by the British East India Company, a new class emerged. A new class was created, the class of zamindars. Okay, so the zamindar was the new category. Okay, was the new class created by the land revenue system introduced by the British East India Company. They were completely indifferent to the welfare of the farmers. They were not at all interested to develop the farmers. They were indifferent. They didn't have the mentality, or they didn't want. Okay, they did not want to help the farmers in any case. What they wanted was to collect more and more revenue so that they could keep the surplus amount of revenue for themselves. They did nothing to improve the productivity of the land. They did not have the peasants, they did not have the farmers to improve the productivity of the land, to improve the fertility of the land, or even the irrigation system was not at all pleasant. Okay, so the farmers had to face a lot of problems. The farmers found it very difficult to support himself and his family. So it became very difficult for the farmer to support his family, to support himself and his family. The land revenue system was already very harsh. Okay, the land revenue collection system was already very, very harsh on the peasants. On top of them, the zamindars, they were very cruel. Okay, they would do anything to collect more and more revenue. They did nothing to help the peasant or to increase the productivity of the land. The fourth impact, another impact of the land revenue systems introduced by the British East India Company was the cultivation of cash crops. Now, what are cash crops? Cash crops are those crops which are grown for its commercial value rather than the consumption of the grower. Okay, so cash crops are those crops which are grown for its commercial value, like rubber, tea, coffee, jute, oil seeds, etc. The company encouraged the cultivation of cash crops like indigo, jute, oil seeds, sugarcane, tea, etc. These crops were widely used in the British manufacturing industries. The practice resulted in the decline of the production of the food crops. Okay, so the East India Company encouraged the peasants, to grow cash crops like indigo, jute, oil seeds, sugarcane, tea, etc. Why? Because these crops were widely used in the British manufacturing units. Because the British manufacturing industries, the British manufacturing units wanted the raw materials. Okay, and these crops such as the indigo, jute, oil seeds, sugarcane, tea, etc. were very profitable. Economically, these crops were very profitable, and the British East India Company's industries needed raw materials, right? So the British East India Company encouraged the cultivation of cash crops. The East India Company even landed money to the peasants in lower rate of interest if they cultivated cash crops. Okay, so as a result, what happened? As a result, there was a decline in the production of food crops. So when peasants started cultivating the cash crops, obviously there was a decline in the production of the food crops. Food crops means crops which are usually grown for consumption, like wheat, paddy, maize, right? All these are known as food crops. Okay, see, all the cereals, etc. are known as the food crops, which are basically grown for consumption. Okay, so the practice of growing the cash crops resulted in the decline of the production of food crops. Am I clear?